Hi guys, welcome in today's video, and today I want to talk to you guys about how to navigate the loneliness of going through a big shift in consciousness and going through a spiritual awakening, because this is something that I talk a lot about on TikTok. I used to talk a lot about it. I've experienced it myself because you can really go through this feeling of isolation once you're consciousness starts expanding, and it can be really hard to find like-minded people that are viewing the world through the same lens. So that's why I wanted to make this video, because it is all happening for your highest good, and at the end of the day it will bring you to a place where it will actually empower you, where it will be your strength that you went through this shift in consciousness, because you're able to view the world through multiple lenses. And especially if you have more of a spiritual mission, maybe you want to become a coach or a content creator, then it can be very beneficial to understand multiple levels of consciousness. So what happens when you go through a shift of consciousness is that your set of beliefs, the way you view the lens through which you are viewing the world, is shifting, is changing. So it is possible that certain beliefs are collapsing and are not the truth for you anymore. And when that happens, your whole paradigm starts to fall apart. I always explain it like the tower card in tarot. It's this tower, but it's falling apart because it was never built on a foundation that was steady. You can see your beliefs as this foundation. If these beliefs are not rooted in truth, sooner or later your paradigm will collapse. That's kind of a hard part because it threatens your ego. It threatens the way you see yourself, the way you see reality, the way you think that life works. And all of a sudden you start to realize that that's not the truth. Like, there's maybe a higher truth. And you get introduced into new belief systems. It's not actually hard for you in your soul's essence, but it's actually hard for your ego. Our ego is a manifestation of this physical dimension, of this third dimension. Our ego is bound to time and space, and our ego thinks in linearity. So for our soul, it's really easy to hold a deeper truth, a deeper wisdom that goes beyond this time and space. But our ego is only developed through the past, the present moment, and the future. We can only think in that timeline. So that's also what happens when belief starts to collapse and your whole paradigm starts to change. You will experience an ego death, and that is actually quite hard if you go through it for the first time. And that's also the reason why you will probably start to feel more lonely, because you're actually experiencing the death of a part of you, an old part of you, and you're relating different to the world. So you became a completely different version, and I would say with that a more authentic version, of course. But it's as if the world around you hasn't changed, as if the people around you hasn't changed, as if they are still picking it up where you guys left. But in the meantime, you went through a whole big spiritual quantum shift. And it's hard because if you want to explain to people what you've been through, they don't understand it. Maybe they can hold space for you, maybe they want to understand you, maybe they want to listen, maybe they have the empathy. But if they haven't gone through it themselves, they never really can come with you to this other version of you, to this new level with you. And that's also one thing that asks very deep, big surrender of you in this process, is to let go of the need of bringing and taking other people with you, to force people through their expansion in consciousness, because that's the ego that wants to push people to also see your perspective, to also expand their consciousness. And that's maybe out of the need of spiritual ego, wanting to know it all, or because you don't want to feel lonely anymore in your new paradigm. And of course, there's also a deeper reason, because you want people to also see the light, like see a bigger perspective, and that's why people always push their own perspectives on others. But the truth is that every soul goes through their own expansion, their own journey in their own timing, and it's not to us to determine when that's the time. God works perfectly in its own way. Like, when a soul is ready to expand, they will expand, and the only thing that you can do is to lead by example, to apply the things that you've learned, to move through a different way in the world. And that's also what Jesus did. Like, he was an amazing example. You gotta lead by example, and then the people that are ready to change, the people that are ready to expand, they will feel inspired by your light, and then they will take the action. They will not change because you are enforcing it on them. So this shift in consciousness that I refer to as a spiritual awakening is also explained very well in this model of Ekal. you can see in this model what the different levels of consciousness are. So you can see that on the lowest level, people are mostly living from survival. So they spend 99% of their time here, and 99% of the people on Earth are actually vibrating on this level of consciousness. And the shift in consciousness that I'm talking about is you have first tier is 1 to 6, and then you have a shift from first tier to second tier is when you go from 6 to 7. And when you go to level 7, you actually start to experience that life is not linear, that life is actually just a projection of your own consciousness. And I would say that if you go to level 8, we're talking about Christ consciousness, the level of consciousness where Jesus was operating from. It's like really being in tune with the higher source, living way more from being interconnected, but also knowing how to materialize things like instantly. It's actually you transcended physical realm in a very profound way. And I don't want to say that you bypass physical realm, you learn to master it on a higher level. So you can set out an intention and it will materialize really fast. It's also the level where miracles happens, where healing happens. And these are all things that you can read about in the Bible, but also in many other scriptures and esoteric knowledge. It's really interesting to check out all these different levels of consciousness that they talk about on the ACO map and to see on which levels you navigate the most in your life. Because if you reach level 7 and 8, so you reach second tier, that doesn't mean that you never go to survival. Like my dominant state of being is like I integrated second tier. So for me, my new beliefs that I can create reality, that I can align, that I can collapse time and space, for me is like the new foundation of my paradigm. So I would say that I integrated the second tier in a way, and I'm still practicing it and becoming better at it until it becomes like the automatic pilot. But I am still sometimes being triggered into survival mode. But the difference is that I easily know how to start observing that experience and become the awareness behind it, and then shift to a more regulated state and then come back to being the conscious creator. And that happens faster and faster the more you expand in your consciousness. If we talk about the loneliness that people go through, that actually has to do with, I don't have the model in front of me right now, but I think it's level 3 or 4. I think it's 3, but it's about belonging. And when the soul is ready to start to live a more autonomous life, a more authentic life, you have to let go of a certain set of beliefs that the people around you are operating in. You have to break the rules that your environment has been moving from. And that can create a lot of friction and also result into isolation. But if you understand that at level 2, like that's what helped me through it, is I understand that I'm the conscious creator, and if I change my own frequency and I change my own vibration, I will attract in the right people that do resonate with me. I will attract in the people that resonate with my true authentic self, and not just stick with people so I will know that I'm not lonely. But at the end of the day, having to betray myself and having to betray my own set of beliefs and my own values. I believe if you grow into adulthood and you start to make your own decisions from your autonomous self, then this can create the friction if you don't have an environment that is open-minded and understands that you're a free being able to make their own decisions. This is something that I talk a lot about in my alignment coaching, because people have to move through these shifts, and that's what I actually guide people through, like moving from an old paradigm where they're stuck into belief systems that their environment is operating from, into a paradigm that is more aligned with the soul, that's more aligned with the authentic self. That's actually the work in my alignment coaching that we do. Another one that I talk a lot about, another big shift in consciousness is, and this one is so common, I struggle sometimes, no, I still struggle with it, but I am very aware of this, and I also transcended a big part of it already, so through doing the inner work. But that is when you are moving from the paradigm where you feel that you need to work hard. I think it's level 6, I'm not sure. You will see it in the model here. But in this paradigm, you're all about entrepreneurship, about achieving, about reaching your goals. There's always one next goal to go after. And in this paradigm, you feel like you need to work really hard to get the things that you want. You see people that are into sports, that are really good into sports, they are also operating in this paradigm. Also coaching a girl, she came from a very professional tennis background, and now when she's stepping into her soul purpose, it's actually holding her more back, that she's always operating from the paradigm where she needs to work hard, because living your life from your soul purpose is asking from you to live from alignment, to move more from surrender instead of effort. And that's the interesting thing. If you start to understand alignment, you start to understand how powerful it is when you work through the quantum field, when you learn to work with your subconscious, with your belief systems, with your state of consciousness. If you know how to shift these things, then you can literally collapse time and space instantly. And that's funny because with my clients, I've been collecting success stories of doing it. So I myself, I love to collect success stories of manifestations that I materialized, and magical things, whimsical things that have been happening to me. So like good examples for me would be, if I want to buy something and I'm thinking like, oh no, I don't have enough money, maybe I need to go for a cheaper option. In that moment, I catch myself and I realize, no, wait, my beliefs create my reality. I'm thinking from lack. What would I do if I have all the abundance in the world? Then I would do what I want to. And then I shift my state and I feel like, wait, money is always coming to me. I'm always provided. I live in an abundant universe. And then I just go with that decision, knowing that I'm always provided for, know that I have always enough. And then, like, I get a discount or I get it for free, or then maybe I receive money like in an instant. It's so crazy how fast time and space can collapse if you shift your state. And now it's funny because my clients have been applying these little things, these conscious creation practices too in their own lives, and they are stacking the testimonials in their own life right now. And that's so powerful, because the more testimonials you have of consciously materializing your reality, the deeper your self-concept changes into knowing that you're the conscious creator, to know that you can shift your state, and to know that you are the cause and the external is the effect. So if you're not having a solid self-concept yet in being a conscious creator, if you're still a bit skeptic about it, if you can manifest the things that you really want, because you can literally materialize anything, start with these small things you can materialize. Start creating small success stories and start stacking them. It's so much fun to do. Like, it doesn't have to be that serious. Just shift your self-concept to being a conscious creator. Understand that you can align your inner state and it will be reflected externally. And of course, we can do this vision board and we can write our 10 years goals, and I would really advise you to do so, because it can transform your life in a really fast way. But at the end of the day, if you're not even believing in your creation power, then just take a step back and see if you can manifest one small thing today. And to make manifesting really easy, it's just about shifting your state, sitting on the chair of having it instead of on the chair of wanting it. And you can make that shift like any instant if you're aware of your state. So start practicing this today. Like, that's my homework for you today. Start practicing that, and like, comment down below, message me if you can also stack success stories, because I would love to hear them. Oh, another example of leaving the paradigm where you have to work hard in order to get what you want to get is that you can also work on your state and work on your belief sets. So that's what I do. Like, I have this belief that I can always attract in the right clients, and that's because I just set out an intention if I want a new client, and then I let go of the how. Like, I wouldn't say that I completely let go of the how, because at the end of the day I still have my strategies. Like, I studied marketing, I know how to do attraction marketing, I know how to do advertising, I have all these things in my toolkit to reach clients. But at the end of the day, it's so funny, they never come through these sources. At the end of the day, it always happens that I'm at the right place at the right time to meet the right person that wants to become my client. And I closed 5-figure collaborations through setting the intention to just attracting the right client, and then the universe just puts me in the right place at the right time. And I just like to share this testimonial because I want you to know that there is something else possible if you're able to allow yourself to move through reality with more ease. If you're able to put down the struggle, if you're able to put down the sword and decide that it's gonna be more effortlessly for you. And I know if you used to work hard for things in the past and that's how you always got the things that you wanted, that it's hard to let go of it. And I wouldn't say that you have to let go of your ability to work hard. I would say that you not have to make it an exception to get what you want. So if you can materialize the things in alignment and then besides that also work hard for the things that you want, then you're going to be unstoppable. So learn to work on the physical part because we are still on the physical plane, but also do the inner work and work on your alignment. If that's something you need help with, you can always send me a message and we can schedule an intake call for alignment coaching, of course. So the last thing I want to end this video with is I want to end it on a positive note, because if you shifted to second tier and you start to integrate it, so that means that you had your spiritual awakening a while ago, you know how to navigate shifting your consciousness, you're actually in a very powerful standpoint because you are able to have an overview of all the different levels of consciousness. And this is especially for the people that have more of a spiritual purpose and they're in the field of wanting to help others. It's powerful because you can see on what level of consciousness the person in front of you is. So for me, in my coaching, I can tell from which level of consciousness they're operating. And you can give advice from level 7 or level 8. I can tell them like, have more whims and work on your alignment and work on your state. But if they're still operating from level 1 to 3 maybe, then they would have no use from that message. So it's better to see like, okay, they are in survival, how can I meet them at that level and give them advice that they can apply immediately on that level. And that is something that you gotta feel out. You can feel out when someone is ready to shift out of a certain paradigm, when someone is ready to shift their beliefs. So with another client that I had, she was really ready to let go of the paradigm, to work hard for the things that she wanted, because she desired a life where she could move from more alignment. She desired a life where things would be more easy. So I helped her on uprooting her belief systems and creating more testimonials of what it's like to live from alignment. So you can see who is in front of you and you can see like on what level you can meet them. And that's the same, like coming back to the beginning of this video where I talked about the loneliness of going through a spiritual awakening. You won't be so lonely anymore if you integrated the level that you're on yourself, because you will attract in more people that are also on that same level of consciousness. And because you know on what level other people are, you can always go to their level of consciousness and then connect with them on that level. So you don't have to be lonely, but it's more so about your desire to be seen on the new level of consciousness that you're experiencing that creates the isolation, and the people from a lower level of consciousness are not able to see that level. And that's okay, just have patience and know that you can always attract in the right people that do vibrate at the same level as you or are even more expanded than you. So I hope this was a valuable video for you and maybe quite a lot of information, and I think absolutely some food for thought to think about your own level of consciousness, to also think like, how can I expand my reality, how can I work on my beliefs and my state. If that's something you like help with, then please send me a message. We'll schedule an alignment coaching call, and I'll see you guys on my next video.